The San Francisco 49ers and Arik Armstead are parting ways. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everybody. Let's go, Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. What's up, 49er fans? I'm Jason Aponte. This is an instant reaction emergency podcast on Sunday night, 10:30 my time, 7:30 on the West Coast. A report just came out from Jordan Schultz, who has been very tied in with a lot of great scoops. That Arik Armstead has decided to become a free agent and the 49ers will oblige him and cut him. I don't know what that means in terms of decided, but I think right now, the day before legal tampering starts, it's very interesting. And I think they're allowing Arik Armstead to feel the best deal possible. And he's going to have a huge market because, again, a lot of people are upset with his time here, whatever it is. And they say, well, is he worth this and that? It's clear that when he's on the field and he's healthy, he's an impactful player. So, thank you guys for joining. We have 200 people in here right now. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. We're going to talk about all the ramifications of all of this. And I think what it kind of points to what the 49ers are doing. But I want to do a little backtracking because today Mike Silver put out a thread on Twitter, X, whatever it is that the kids are calling it, and he outlined a plan for the 49ers to kind of be in the edge market, not be major players right away, but he did highlight the name Arik Armstead and said his name specifically. And one thing that we know, whether we agree with whatever Mike Silver says, is he's tied in, and it eventually ends up coming out right. So today, now Jordan Schultz, after that, puts out this report from Bleacher Report that Arik Armstead has decided to be a free agent and the 49ers will part ways. So I wanted to go through the ramifications in terms of money because I know that that's what everyone is talking about right now. Post June 1, this deal does not make any sense. This cut, like, it makes no sense in terms of like what they're going to save, how much dead money is going to be on the books, all those things. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But according to overthecap.com, post June 1, and I believe that this cut will be designated as a post June 1 cut. It'll be $10 million in dead cap, but $18 million in cap savings. So, what does that mean? Obviously, the money is what you want. You want the money right on the books right now, especially considering, what you plan to do in free agency, what you need to do in the draft, what you could possibly save up for a Brandon Ayuk extension. All those things matter. But what I think it points to a little bit more is right now you're seeing a shift in a little bit of, hey, Arik Armstead is a cornerstone defensive tackle, somebody who you keep in the middle, but I think the 49ers are really targeting somebody who is an edge that can be across from Nick Bosa. They tried it with Chase Young, not sure how that's going to play out. I think there's a lot of people that are skeptical and will say he might be here, he might not. There's obviously a 50-50 chance of that. But what I'm looking at now is I'm looking at a philosophy shift and possibly a draft shift in what these guys are looking at, right? So everybody knows the 49ers right now are in the offensive line market in the draft, 100%. And that makes a ton of sense. Absolutely, especially when you see how the offensive line progressed down the stretch. But this doesn't preclude the 49ers now of being in the edge market, not only in the free agency portion, but now the draft. So I think you save all this money. You save it because either one, you want to make sure you get this Brandon Ayuk deal done. And John Lynch has been very much on the record saying over and over how many big numbers we have on this team, right? We have huge numbers in terms of contracts, and we have so many of these numbers, and they keep mentioning that. And it kind of felt like this was telling, at least going forward, what was going to happen. Then you have Mike Silver's report. Then you have this report. But now the 49ers find themselves in a spot now where you free up this money post June 1, and now you can do whatever you want, not only in free agency, but in the draft. Now the draft doesn't necessarily turn into pick 31 has to be this. Also, by the way, all the compensatory picks that the 49ers have, all of that kind of aligns with a trade up. So if the 49ers see there's a player there that they can really look at and they can say, hey, what is somebody that can be an impactful guy today, right away, today, not down the line, today. Now the 49ers have a chance to actually push up in the draft, and they have a chance to be flexible in free agency. Daniil Hunter's a free agent. Shaquille Barrett. There's a lot of great quality edge rushers that are out there to be had. Bryce Huff, right? Like, and we know the Eagles have their interest in him. But the 49ers right now, it feels like this was a move that obviously Arik Armstead kind of saw coming, which is why if he asked for it, it's not something that's a shock to him because he realizes I understand the implications of my dead cap money and how much my cap hit is. So he's going to have a fine market. I think I want to talk about thanking Arik Armstead, longest tenured 49er, somebody who I think was underappreciated in the time that he was here. Everybody points to sacks and totals, and they look at those numbers as opposed to what he's done when he's been healthy. But I want to make sure that we give Arik Armstead his flowers because I think he's one of the most underappreciated 49ers, and I think he's somebody who was unfairly at times criticized, and his impact goes further than the box score because when a guy gets a sack like Drake Jackson 3 times in week one and a half of those belong to Arik Armstead, right? Like he's pushing the quarterback out that pocket. So again, if you're concerned with the injuries, which is fair because he has missed time, the foot injury is something that is really tough to come back from and continue to play, well with. I think that's very fair. But I think right now, what you're looking at is you're looking at the 49ers not only doing Eric a solid the day before the legal tampering is allowed to happen and continuing to keep themselves flexible in free agency and in the draft and be able to target a guy. I truly believe deep in my heart that the 49ers are getting ready to trade up for somebody. They're getting ready to trade up for somebody that they can get because they have 10 draft picks. One goes to Washington, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They have 10 draft picks. You can't sign all those guys. You can't bring them all back. Now you have a chance to get a real impact guy and add to an already loaded roster. And someone like DJ Jones has been floated out there. He's about to be cut by the Denver Broncos. He's about to be available. I think what they're starting to figure out is Hargrave's a great defensive tackle. We can plug in that other spot, but let's go get that other edge guy across from Nick Bosa because that's what really made the defensive line so lethal, especially in 2019 into that Super Bowl, was no matter what you feel about D Ford, when D Ford was on the field, he contributed and he had an impact. But right now, everybody's going to get upset about the fact that the 49ers might be in the defensive end market in the draft early on. But when you're looking at the way this team is trying to construct itself and you're looking at the way that this happens, I think this is probably the best method at this point, and it lets Arik 100% go get a market, and he'll have a big market. Honestly, the first team that jumps out in my mind, like right off the bat, gun in my head right now, instant reaction, New York Jets. I think you know, the way that Robert Saleh is and the way that they need to win right away, I think he's a natural fit right there, like for them as well too. You have to start thinking about other teams that have ties to him. Do the Houston Texans look at him that way? He's gonna have a big market. I think he's a very good football player, 100%. But I think again, this was a move not only for the 49ers future, for Arik Armstead. They wanted to look him out. He has done nothing but be a stand-up guy when he's here. Great human being. Will always remember the times that you're here. Arik Armstead, now a free agent, apparently, if all reports are true. Almost 700 people in here, guys. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. A lot of content now. Free agency starts tomorrow. But a little bit back to the timeline today of Mike Silver putting out those tweets today talking about Arik Armstead being a cut candidate. Now it's happened. And then now you start to look at this team and see, hey, they're going to kind of think about how they're constructing their team. How does it happen? Does it happen in free agency? Does Daniil Hunter become a target? That's somebody that's really great. Is Bryce Huff somebody who has a substantial market, sounding like the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be on it? Is that someone that they can go get? Or do they just go straight into the draft for this? I think all of these things are possible. And I think it just shows the flexibility now that the 49ers have based on this move and the amount of money that they're able to save right now. So it's a done deal. It's right now. Arik Armstead is going to hit the free agent market. He deserves to get paid. Someone will pay him. But for right now, I think the 49ers are looking at this team saying, we've already paid Javon Hargrave. We paid Nick Bosa. We need that other guy on the other side. And this feels like they are going to go all in either way, either in the draft or in free agency on an edge rusher. And they tried it. They tried it over and over. You bring in Randy Gregory. You try it with Chase Young. You literally are looking for another guy across from Nick Bosa. They want to get back to that. That's what this team wants to get back to. And Peyton says, Adam Schefter says the 49ers tried to restructure and it didn't work out. That's fine. That's fine. 100%. And I think, again, this is a move for the future. This is a move for Arik. This is a move for the present. All of those things are, and it has to be a post June 1 cut. I already went down the numbers. If you guys, for everybody that's joining in, we have 700 people in here. The post June 1 dead money and cap savings from this, it's $10 million dead cap, but $18 million in cap savings. That is something that you really, when you restructure, you're just kicking the can down the road. Now you can take that money proverbially to the bank at this point with Arik Armstead's release, and now you can do things like Brandon Ayuk's coming back now. Like, I don't think that that's even a question at this point. Brandon Ayuk's coming back. Now you can figure out what you do at edge, either in free agency, in the draft, one of those two things. I think, again, I don't want 49er fans to be disappointed if the 49ers trade up and they go get a defensive lineman, even though all of us know, and I hate when people do this about, the Colton McKivitz signing and who knows ball. Obviously, the 49ers need to address the offensive line. But now the 49ers have a chance to address edge and keep a cheap edge that will be able to be a running mate with Nick Bosa for a long time. And I think, again, defensively, they're moving away from having those two stud defensive tackles. They'll be able to bring in someone who is going to play well. I think this absolutely means Javon Kinlaw's coming back. Like, there's no question in my mind. Javon Kinlaw's coming back. Javon Kinlaw is going to be a rotational guy. You'll find someone that'll start. If you think it's DJ Jones, that's fine. There are plenty of defensive tackles that they could find and they can add in. So this obviously signals that Javon Kinlaw is coming back. They'll bring him back as a rotational guy, and he was very good this year when he had his shot. All of those things are true. So for me, it's literally right now something where the 49ers are keeping themselves flexible and they are looking at every sort of possibility because they do have a first round pick for the first time. They have all these compensatory picks in the fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds that you can package to move up. If you find a guy that you see on the board and you can target him and move up, I think this is exactly the way that you should go at this point, because now you can't sit around at 31. Because if you sit around at 31 and you start drafting for need, I think right now the 49ers are in a spot where they can go best player available. And I think that is always the best way to draft, because no matter how stocked you are at a position, no matter how tough you are, and you know that you have guys, injuries happen, plays fall off all the time, players decline all the time. I think right now this team is now putting themselves in a position to be flexible. They understand the window that they're in because they have a quarterback that does not count against their cap technically. All of these things are true. And I think the 49ers are being smart about this, and also at the same time doing Arik Armstead a huge favor, allowing him to be available before the legal tampering period starts tomorrow morning. Almost 15 minutes in, 775 people in here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. The 49ers, again, if you're just joining, there is a report out. Matt Mayoko has confirmed Arik Armstead will be a free agent. He will be a cut post June 1. It will save the 49ers $18 million, and it will be $10 million of dead cap money. The longest tenured 49er has now walked. It was literally Arik Armstead and Jimmy Ward. Those were the last two of the bulky guys, the Harbaugh years, all those guys. Now you have no more of those holdovers at any way. Let's get to the super chat real quick. David says, if he relisted, it was reported, do we owe him money? The report literally said he chose to be a free agent, so what do we owe? I think Matt Mayoko just explained it, and Adam Schefter said that there was a restructure that they tried to make happen. It'll be $18 million of cap savings, $10 million of dead cap post June 1. That's how you designate this cut. If you do it now, there's almost no advantage to doing it now. I think everything in that way has been worked out. And I think, again, they were doing Arik a solid. They want to make sure that he gets a shot to test free agency, get a good contract. I think all of those things right now is important. And I think, again, the 49ers have afforded themselves flexibility in free agency, in the draft now. Now you get to do whatever you want. Someone is going to pay Arik Armstead, and rightfully so, but the 49ers obviously wanted to restructure this contract because they needed to maneuver the cap. They need to find a way to pay Brandon Ayuk. They also have to have a bunch of draft picks that come in and find a way to get them under the cap. And you also have to brace for the fact that eventually Brock Purdy is going to get paid. You looked at Baker Mayfield's contract today. It was mid-level. He's going to get about 22, 30 million dollars, I believe, per year. That's mid-level. That's mid-level. Think about what Dak Prescott's probably going to command. And I think we can all agree that regardless if you believe, and I do, that Brock is better than Dak, they're still in that same tier. So when Brock goes to the table, he's going to look at that number and say, that's at least where I want to land, if not more. So the 49ers have to brace for all of this. And I think they're trying to get ahead of it a little bit right now. And I think right now, this is the best thing for them and Arik. And again, when Mike Silver talks, we should listen because he literally said his name earlier today and he literally threw his name out there when he was outlining the plan and what the 49ers are intending to do in terms of, hey, they may be in for a pass rusher, but they don't have to be crazy about it, and they don't have to get out early. They can find someone at a value. There's always going to be those guys that end up being like left on the scrap heap, if that makes any sense. And that doesn't mean that they're bad players, but they're guys who are not jumping at deals. And the 49ers are looking to change the way that they're doing the defensive line. So now you have Arik Armstead moving out. You find someone who's solid and can fit, can possibly play for 17 games. It absolutely means Javon Kinlaw's coming back. But now you have another edge piece that you want to get that can run with Nick Bosa. And this is the way that they want to get it back, honestly, at this point. Let's see. 49ers throwback, thank you for the donation. Are you in on bringing DJ Jones back? Absolutely. I mean, I am. Like, seriously. And again, trading for him, it doesn't make sense. I don't think anyone's going out of their way to trading for DJ Jones, so you don't have to outbid people. If you want Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack, you're going to have to go to trade for them, right? I think Khalil Mack's a little bit more realistic because it would be less compensation, and that would be somebody that can probably net you a fourth or fifth round pick, and you don't have to worry about it because if they hit the free market, then you compete. But I do think that there's not a shot that I think anybody's really out there ready to pay for DJ Jones in terms of a trade. I don't think so. And now the Broncos, who are trying to maneuver their own cap, if they make this move and he hits the free market, then the 49ers have a chance to absolutely make that happen. I don't think you need to trade for DJ Jones because if you trade for him, you're trading for his contract. And his contract comes with a pretty good cap hit. So I would, in any way, if I could, perfect world, I would wait for DJ Jones to get cut, and I would wait for them to, sign him as well too. So again, like the 49ers are in a position right now, again, keeping themselves flexible. NFL draft, a free agency, they can do whatever you want. And for me, it's literally right now like talking about the 49ers are making the right move at this point for Arik Armstead, for their team. And yes, this has been designated as a post June 1 cut. It will be $10 million dead cap, $18 million cap savings for the 49ers. And it allows them to be extremely flexible and do whatever they want. And it also signifies, in my opinion, a trade up that the 49ers have, especially considering all the compensatory picks that they have. And you can't sign all 10 guys. You already have your 53 basically set. Right now, the 49ers have put themselves in a position where they can do whatever they want in terms of the draft, in terms of free agency. And they've also done Arik Armstead a huge solid by letting him the day before, literally the day before legal tampering is allowed to happen, which is tomorrow morning. The day before that, allow him to fetch whatever it is that he's on the market. He will have a highly coveted market because Arik Armstead, when healthy and when playing, is still a very productive football player. Shout out to everybody in here. 900 people in here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. man, tomorrow is going to be a crazy day. And the way that Mike Silver was explaining what's going to happen, right, in terms of the way that he's seeing it. And again, when Mike talks, we should listen, regardless if we don't like what he's going to say. He was out first on the Trey Lance, what is it, arm fatigue thing, all of those things. He was absolutely dead on. Mike actually has a pipeline to Kyle and this organization. So it's not that things don't leak, but things will come out by the right people. It's not like it's leaking other places. But Mike Silver mentioning Arik Armstead and then talking about the 49ers plan in terms of now they're going to be firmly in the edge market. Danielle Hunter is a name. Bryce Huff. We talked about Shaquille Barrett. All those guys are people that can fill in right away. It's clear the 49ers were not happy with the way their pass rush was going this season. And I think we all feel that. I think all of us feel that. I think when you're looking at how much money this defensive line was putting out and how much it costs to have all these guys, and we're looking at the way that this place is performing. Look, I'm a big pressures over sacks guys. I think 100% that we can feel that the 49ers defensive line did not live up to standards. They did great in the Super Bowl. I mean, Arik Armstead was great in the Super Bowl. He had a sack, 6 pressures. I think they were great in the Super Bowl. They were great. But right now, they're getting back to basics. And I see David, he says, yes, but all of us feel O-line is a bigger problem. 100%. And again, that doesn't preclude the 49ers from being in the O-line market. What if this money being freed up is to bring in Onwenu from New England? Now you have your guard. Now you have your guard, and now in the first round, you can still trade up, get your defensive end, and still address offensive line and free agency. I don't think the 49ers are neglecting offensive line by doing all these things. I think they're setting themselves up for a move in which they can be completely flexible. And I think that's what ultimately everybody should be excited about. Ultimate flexibility. Don't be pigeonholed. Don't be in a spot where you're drafting for need. I hate drafting for need. Draft best player available, stock your team in the best way, and try to build your team that way. Now, the 49ers have everything that they can do in terms of that, right? They can do a trade up, they can get the defensive end who's a huge edge guy, and that's great. Or they can address offensive line later on. Also, if they sign someone in free agency, I think there's a lot to be said and a lot to still be determined in terms of where this team is going and what they're going to do. So for right now, the 49ers need defensive line. And I love this. I love this one. This is it. Right now, the 49ers have 5 defensive linemen under contract. And that's with Arik Armstead leaving. You still need to have guys. You still have to have guys. And I love this too, Big Des. This is the best O-line. Everyone's telling you that this is the best O-line draft in history, like or close, right? A lot of depth. It's deep. So then why do we have to immediately reach in the first round if we're talking about it being so deep? If you're talking about building this roster the entire way. I think right now, the 49ers are setting themselves up to do whatever they want. If they want to sit at 31 in his alignment, Graham Barton's been floated out there, Jordan Morgan. If Mims from Georgia is there, I don't see any problem with that. Mims has to be developed a little bit more. But if you stay there, you can take an offensive lineman. But if you see someone up front that you can move up to, go get him. Go get him. Why wouldn't you do that? And why wouldn't you address it later on? Not taking an offensive lineman in the first round doesn't mean the 49ers are not addressing the offensive line. And I understand 49er fans. It feels like the 49ers have not put the proper resources into the offensive line and tried to bargain bin dive. I get that 100%. Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz, who's back on, and I wouldn't say that the $7 million means that he's automatically a starter either way. I think again he has experience at guard and they can make moves and they'll try to figure out those things as well too. I think you're absolutely right. I think when you're looking at the offensive line, you swung on Burford, and I think today on March 10th, it's hard to not say that Burford's not going to work out, I think, at this point. But Aaron Banks has been solid. I think Brendel eroded as the season went on. The 49ers absolutely have to address this offensive line. And your frustrations are valid in terms of what you've allocated to the offensive line in terms of picks, in terms of money. 100%. There's no reason for you to not feel like that. But the 49ers can do 2 things. They can use this extra money, use it in free agency. They can use those picks, move up and get an edge, and they can still address the offensive line either in free agency or in the draft and keep themselves absolutely 100% foolproof in terms of their flexibility and doing what they want to do. Shout out to everybody in here. 200, my goodness, 936 people in here, 25 minutes in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Man, Monday is going to be a crazy day tomorrow in terms of free agency. You know, there are a lot of premium frontline guys, right? For edge. We talked about it. Daniil Hunter, Bryce Huff, Shaquille Barrett. There's names I'm definitely forgetting as well, too, that can absolutely be guys. And don't underestimate the 49ers chances of finding a guy that they're going to bet on traits that isn't necessarily somebody who is well known, right? The Chris Kosuric effect, right? Like, look at what happened with Charles Omenihu, right? Khalil Mack had 17 sacks last season. 17 sacks. There's absolutely a chance that even in his age 33 year, you're looking at a guy that could be 100% a difference maker. I mean, 17 sacks in 17 games. He played every game. That's crazy, right? Like, and, you know, think about everything that the 49ers can do. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I want to make sure that you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live tomorrow. A lot of content coming down. I'll be writing for Niners Nation all day tomorrow, breaking down everything. The pods will come out as the news breaks as well, too. Sprint right option later at night tomorrow as well. Shout out to all you guys for joining on late Sunday night. And thank you guys again. And as always, let's go Niners. Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.